The search for the one-armed man is set to begin again as Deadline is reporting that Warner Brothers is gearing up for a new incarnation of The Fugitive. However, at this point, the trade is unclear if the film will be another version of the 1963 television original or a sequel to the 1993 feature film, which starred Harrison Ford and Tommy Lee Jones. Christian, do you buy or sell WB producing another incarnation, of The Fugitive?
Man, I sell this. I sell it big because they already did a sequel. It was U.S. Marshals. No thanks. And it was even kind of as a spin-off, not necessarily a sequel. If somehow, originally when they're supposed to do a sequel, they had Harrison Ford kind of helping out the new Fugitive. If they did that again, I'd be interested. I'd probably still sell it, but I'd be interested more than a reboot. Why? The first one, I mean, I know that sometimes, and John, I know that you say reboots sometimes can be, if they're done right, you still have the original. I just don't see the reasoning behind it. I just don't see the reason why you would remake The Fugitive again when it stinks to me.
I'm going to buy it, actually. And I buy it for either of the two scenarios. The Fugitive is just the core story of what The Fugitive is such a great story. You know, this doctor, the woman he loves, he witnesses her murder, and then to add insult to injury, he gets pinned for the murder, gets out. And a lot of movies have borrowed story trips from The Fugitive to tell it. So, and look, the original, but the 1993 one, it's 22 years old. I mean, it's literally a generation ago. You have an entire generation of moviegoers right now who have never seen that film. And so the concept of taking another run at it, doing it again in a more contemporary setting, I think there's value to that. I think there's potential to be another U.S. Marshals, like you were pointing out, absolutely, but potential to be really good. I'm also fascinated about the idea about maybe revisiting, the Doctor again, coming back and visiting the Harrison Ford character again. I mean, look, Harrison Ford, he's coming back to Star Wars. He wants to do more Indiana Jones.
Blade Runner.
He's coming back for Blade Runner. He's pulling a Sylvester Stallone and Vin Diesel of going back to all the things that worked for him before. So maybe he's having a bit of a renaissance. I'd be curious to see what they do with that. So look, I don't disagree with you. I think the potential for another U.S. Marshals is absolutely there, but I also think it's worth taking a run at. So I'm going to go for buy.
I'll buy it for the reason of just doing a total reboot. And not having Harrison Ford and not having here he is 30 years later or whatever, or 20 years later. I think the storyline is ultimately reusable, and just putting it in a contemporary setting, why not? I mean, so many films get remade every 20, 25 years for a new generation, and this is that film, I think, and it's a fun storyline, and I'd love to see it done with cell phones and tracking and GPS and all this other kind of stuff. Like, how's he going to escape this time with basically how do you even leave a room without someone knowing, being able to track you? So